Welcome back to the Print 3D channel. Today is February 18th, and that means day 49 of the 3DP 365 project. And on today's episode, we're going to show you how we printed out Adalinda The Singing Serpent, so stick around. Welcome back, and thank you for joining me here for day 49 of the 3DP 365 project. If you're unfamiliar with the project, check out the description below. I put a facts section down at the bottom that'll give you all the details. But on today's episode, we printed out Adalinda The Singing Serpent. And for this print, we used MatterHackers PRO PLA in the color of purple on our all-new gMax 1.5 XT+. While browsing around on Thingiverse at some of the most popular models, I came across Adalinda The Singing Serpent. And I've had this on my list for quite some time, and I knew today was finally the day to print it. And the print turned out pretty good. We did have some problems, and I do need to dial in my settings better for smaller print areas, and I did a little bit of over extrusion. But we'll go over the model in a couple of minutes. First, let's head over to Thingiverse and I'll show you where to download the model. Then we'll tab over to Simplify 3D and I'll show you my settings for this print. Then we'll fire up some of that time-lapse footage and I'll meet you guys back here at the workbench. Okay, so here we are at Thingiverse. Here is Adalinda The Singing Serpent by Loubie, and I'll put the link down in the description so you can download and print this yourself. And as you may know, this is a very, very popular model. It's been collected over 2,000 times and it's been printed over 200 times. And of course, we've already printed ours, so let's tab over to Simplify 3D and I'll show you my settings for this print. Okay, so here we are in Simplify 3D, and I've dropped the model down on the print bed at 100%, and that's what we're going to print it at 100%. And we're not going to run any support material on this, so let me show you my process settings. Under layer height, we did a 0.16mm layer height with 3 top and 3 bottom solid layers and 3 perimeters. We also used a skirt at 10mm from the object at 4 outlines. For infill, we used 15% for this model, and we did not generate support. For temperature, this is MatterHackers PRO PLA, and I'm moving my temperatures around a little bit, so we are 208 and 211. Under cooling, we have our 3-stage cooling system set up. And then under speed, we ran this out at 45 millimeters per second. So let's hit OK. And let's hit prepare to print and I'll show you how it slices. Okay, so that was the real-time slice, and here is our finished print. And let me play this through so you can see this, because this is a very complicated model because it prints in 5 separate pieces that all join together. So let's speed this up. And as you can see, the legs join in with the body, and the interior of the body is actually pretty hollow. And I thought it may be because it is the singing serpent that the print would actually whistle, but it doesn't whistle. But it did turn out pretty awesome, and I am pretty happy with the print. We did have a few small issues. So let's drag this down to the end, and there's your finished slice print. So let's fire up some of that time-lapse footage, and I'll meet you guys back over at the workbench, and we'll talk about the print. Alright, so that was a cool little bit of time-lapse footage, and here is Adalinda The Singing Serpent, and I'll put some close-ups in at the end like I always do. But this print turned out pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. There are a few minor issues. Of course, my seam just found the wrong place to go. It climbed right up this wing. And there's a little bit of over-extrusion. I set my flow rate for 101 because I was a little worried that I wasn't getting enough plastic down. I probably should have left it alone because it got a little muddy and a little bit murky up here on the horns. And there's some areas that could use some improvement. But all in all, I think it turned out pretty great. I would call this a 90% perfect model. His claws are really nice and detailed. His belly is very smooth. The surface finish is really nice on it. His tail actually turned out pretty good too. There's just some areas and some small printing areas that just didn't turn out as good as I'd like. And I definitely will dial in my settings, and maybe I'll even print this again. But for now, I think this is still a really good print. Well, that about wraps it up for day 49 of the 3DP 365 project. I hope you found this episode interesting and informative. Please remember to subscribe to the channel, comment, like, and share those videos, and join me again tomorrow on the very next episode of the 3DP 365 project. All in all, I think this print turned out pretty good. The surface finish is really nice. There's just some small areas of printing that need some improvement, and I'm definitely going to reprint this again.